eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to No Repeat. It's a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Tyler Reed.
You know, those podcasts are starting to give me Boss Baby vibes.
And Sean Evans.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't either, but I don't want to be associated with Alec Baldwin.
I don't even know. I haven't never seen those movies.
I haven't either.
Tyler, what was our challenge this week?
Thank you, Taylor. This week, we're challenged to find the perfect song that you can't understand the lyrics, but you sing anyway. Commit to not looking up the lyrics beforehand. Do a cold read. Submitted by 71DPI, Alex Lockwood. Thanks so much, Alex. And if you want to submit your own challenge, you can DM us or wait for the post to go up. Try to do it on either Fridays or Sundays on Instagram and Twitter at NoRepeatPod, or you can always send us an email at norepeatpod@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
So this is an interesting one because there are lots of songs that are hard to sing along to, but the specifics of you can't understand the lyrics, but you sing anyway, I think that is a special kind of song. It's the kind of song where, like, no karaoke monitor to help you. You still basically know what's happening. You just don't understand what they're saying. And I think a lot of younger folks may not fully understand how common this occurrence was, even 10 or 15 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, before streaming services added lyrics in the app. I mean, growing up with the radio and CDs and VH1 and MTV, we almost never knew the words to a song, especially if you maybe acquired your CDs in less than legal manners, which none of us would have ever done. We would not download a car. Then you definitely didn't get the lyrics along with it, and you just made them up as you went. So I thought, as just kind of a quick little exercise, maybe we could list off a couple examples from our younger days where we misheard a lyric and then years and years later figured out what it actually was.
So I would say I'm going to look this up right now, but I could probably tell you most of the lyrics to All-Star, except for there's one line. Can you imagine what that is as I'm looking for it in the lyric sheet?
Is it the kind of fast part, the years start coming and they don't stop coming, and then the next line?
You what to the rules?
I don't know that I've ever learned what word is there.
Don't stop coming. Fed to the rules, and I hit the ground running. What is fed to the rules?
I always thought it was read all the rules.
See, but the rest of the lyrics to this song, you're like, yeah, I got this. That's just a really, like, you almost can't. It feels inaudible almost because it's just a petite word.
I feel like that was the case with a lot of Bare Naked Ladies songs too, where there was a lot of like fast quasi rapping, and you would miss like random little articles in there and just get the funny catchphrase lines like the Chinese chicken. But then nobody understands the next line. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking. Watching X-Files with no lights on and Sally Mae's on. And then there's also the line in that song, I watch cartoons like Sailor Moon and they got the boom anime babes that make me think the wrong things. Which is really kind of a gross line, and it took me a long time to learn what that was.
That's what he's saying in there? There's a reason why they say it very fast.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, yikes. Yikeroni and cheese.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn what that actually was.
See, but then there's like, Tom DeLonge, you're just like, you just say it funny. He's not, you're like, well, he's not, there's nothing there to that. But I feel like I distinctly remember several like videos or like people doing like a segment on Sugar We're Going Down, because that song has got some complexities to it. Such as my favorite, which I shared for most of the posts on today, was A Loaded Guy Complex, Cock It and Pull It.
Which is an amazing piece of lyricism, but nobody knows what it is. I feel like another common example of this is in the Beatles song Get Back. Almost everyone assumes that every time it's so-and-so was a man who thought he was a woman. That's not in the line. Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner. And then Sweet Loretta Martin, Or see, I just did it. Sweet Loretta Modern, not Sweet Loretta Martin, which I always thought it was Martin. Thought she was a woman, but she was another man. That song is full of tongue twisters. And if you watch the Beatles Get Back documentary on Disney Plus, you see them rewrite the verses to this song like 25 times. At one point, it's a protest song, and then it becomes this weird like gender pun thing. And having watched that, I know even less of the words to that song now because I've heard it sung so many different ways.
Probably something with Panic at the Disco. Maybe it's probably I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. Good luck nailing all the lyrics to that song. If you're a diehard fan, you probably know them. But I just feel like that song is really... I don't want to spoil what my actual pick is just yet, but definitely this band too has a ton of... You're like, what the hell did you just say?
I feel like it, in a lot of ways, this challenge... I think Alex had said when I was talking to him about it, he was like, oh, I was kind of expecting you guys to kind of go in like a metal direction. And I was like, well, in my mind, I was like, well, that feels a little too easy. You know, like, and you're like, just because you can't understand like the vocals, like, sure, you could do like a Sunbather. But that's not, you know, like, that's just, you're not really singing along to that. Similarly, like, I mean, like, that's almost the purpose of rap is that like sometimes you're just saying stuff and like the speed or like you have to like rhyme it together, and that's also feels like a little too, that's kind of almost the point sometimes. So
yeah, any genre where it's intentionally trying to be like lyrically complex like that was totally off the map for me. I was looking for a song that for an extended period of time I seriously just sang nonsense to. I know the words now, but the kind of song I do. But the kind of song where like when it first came out, I was like, what? And you just kind of like make weird noises at the parts you don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So
you kind of feel it in. Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we just want to dive in? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, buddy. You go right ahead.
This week I chose 15 Step by Radiohead. "15 Step" is the opening track on In Rainbows, which is probably everybody's first Radiohead album if they're roughly our age. Certainly how I found out about them, because they gave this album away for free as a stunt. It was a pay what you want. It was the first high-profile pay what you want release.
I remember that.
And I was all about it at the time. I adored it. Both the gimmick of it and the record itself. It's a great album. But I remember reading all the press going up to it and like, oh my gosh, this band that I'm like vaguely aware of is putting out an album and you can pay whatever you want. And the day it came out, I raced home from school and paid $0. And I listened to this song and I was like, this is so cool and weird. And I've never heard anything like this with these like break beats and this falsetto. And for months, the free download was the only way you could get it. And of course it didn't come with lyrics. So I was like, because Tom York always sounds kind of drunk, but he's singing in his falsetto in this very lilty way that just feels incredibly intoxicated. Like, if it took truly waiting 2 years for the vinyl version to be released and getting the lyric sheet with it to finally learn what the heck he's saying. So I'll see if I can do the first section from memory, and maybe one of you could fact check me. But it's, I come running up where I started. I come running up where I belong. Won't take my eyes off the ball again. You reel me out, then you cut the string.
I mean,
I'm not going to question it here.
But if you didn't like sit there with a sheet of lyrics and know that and read it out loud, I don't think I would have ever learned the words to this song.
Yeah, completely inaudible.
But it's such a cool song. Like, I love the like weird slide guitar that's like so muted it's almost alien sounding. And the arrangement is really, really sparse until all of a sudden it's not, and it's big and bombastic and loud in a very like Kid A way, which once I was a little bit older and listened to the back catalog, I was like, oh, this is kind of what Radiohead does. But at the time, it just felt so innovative and different than anything I'd ever heard before. And so it's always kind of had a soft space in my heart.
In Rainbows was never one of my favorite albums from Radiohead. It was kind of experimental. It's never really been like super into that. But as I've grown older, I have found a soft spot for music like this and the textures that it has. That's what I mean. When it first came out, I just don't think I was the right listener for it. I wasn't like excited for this kind of things. I wanted heavier stuff. You just go from there. You can probably just guess. But I really like this. I think it meets the challenge perfectly because you can't understand. Like you said, you nailed it. It meets the challenge. But I think it's interesting, all the layers. I think that when did this album come out? It must have been
2007. It was my freshman year of high school.
So I think it is a really good 2007 album. Like it captures that spirit really well. I think it holds up too. I don't necessarily think you have to be a Radiohead fan 14 years from now. Like 14 years from 15 years almost, intended release to be like, oh yeah, this is good. And I'm a deep Radiohead fan, so I automatically think that. It's not like you're a Smashing Pumpkins fan who's like, Drum and Fife, that was a quality song. Like everybody else just passed over that. So yeah, I mean, interesting take on this song for me. I think I really need to go back and listen to the rest of this album and just feel it. Feels like a nice rainy day spring album anyway, which, seeing as how spring has just happened, it just feels right.
I do think it's worth re-listening to in a contemporary light. A lot of the sounds they play with here, I think, have become more prevalent in the 15 years since then.
I mean, I, at a base level, love this song. I feel like I also obtained this in the similar way as Taylor. I distinctly remember a period of my life where I ran Diablo, the original video game, over and over and over again, because you beat it and you can just start back at the beginning. You can do a new game plus. And it was between this album, I forget which One Republic album it was, but it was the first one, which is embarrassing to admit. Yeah. And I think also I might have also listened to Between the Buried and Me Colors. I think that were the three albums I was shuffling, and so you're that's some wild choices I made. But I have specifically loved this album in particular because it is such a departure. I feel from everything that Radiohead has done before this, it feels so much more in touch with a pop sensibility, I guess. Feels much more approachable in that way, and so that's probably why I liked it so much. But yeah, I think what makes this song so seductive and so appealing is that it's almost completely unfathomable, in that you're the beats are crushed, the guitar is kind of the only thing that kind of actually sings, the vocals are incoherent, so it's all these sort of very almost crusty components being thrown together, and it's an old hard drive, old computers making sounds to work, and that's what this kind of reminds me of. So I mean, of course, this obviously fits the challenge because I ain't got no idea what Tom's saying. Ain't got a clue. So this is perfect. Love this song.
Well, who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Tyler, what'd you pick?
This week I chose "Why Did We Ever Meet" by The Promise Ring. What's funny about The Promise Ring is that they almost specifically are known for having inaudible lyrics. So this was kind of an easy choice for me because, they're sort of another foundational band and sort of the pushing of pop sensibilities in the emo spectrum. And so, I found this album. I think I ended up going to an FYE and picking this up, even though this album came out probably 10, 20 years before I had gotten it. And I don't even remember where I had even found this. It might have been like a Steven's Untitled Rock Show like plug. He's like, you gotta check this band out. Or something like that. So like, this is like a historically like inaudible kind of weird kind of band. And I think what I kind of ended up picking this song for was because sure, all of the songs are kind of like that. But what's funny is that there is the chorus has a like a ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da, and that's it. That's like the only thing I personally could really like make out if I was like casually listening to this. And I just think there's something so funny about the only part of it, a part of the song that is intelligible is a what do we call it? It's like a scat lyric? Like what is is it like a doo-wop? Like what is, I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, but that's like basically it. And I was like, you're always, and it's like, I'm literally like, you know, like, and the lyric is, you're always dressed and buttoned up. And it's like, that, okay, sure. But like, all of the other lyrics in the song are kind of poetic. You know, they're kind of interesting. It's a little bit of like it's a little narrative in that way. And so I think it's just so funny that it's like a song that's like trying to tell like some kind of story. I'm looking at the lyrics for the first time, but like you can't hear it. You can't hear it at all. But that's like kind of, I guess, part of the sort of the appeal of early emo. I don't know. I thought this song was sort of like it's appealing in that the vocal is a texture, and I like that, and it just is like a pop punk song that is a little more emotional. And that's it. I love it.
Yeah, boy, this really is a nonsense song. It's weird hearing an emo song that feels so like ostensibly happy because of the bop bop badas and the doo 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 doos.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you look at the lyrics, there's like a narrative and it's sad and it's an emo song. But you forget sometimes that like 90s first wave emo was much more upbeat even than the second wave, third wave, like MCR, Screamo, all of that kind of stuff. And I think this vocal fits into that. Like, it's not inaudible in the way that a Panic at the Disco was, where you're trying to cram a bunch of words in. It's like kind of slurry and a little bit drunken.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it just goes by quick and nice and dirty rock and roll, you know, got some feelings to it. I like that the like nonsense syllables are parts of sentences. So it's like do 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 and you, like playing with the rhyming with those things is kind of cool, but also makes it even harder to sing. They really said like, let's make a song that people are gonna like mosh to live, but have no concept of what they're saying.
Okay, not my cup of tea.
That's surprising to me, honestly.
No, not really. I think if you listen to the stuff that I like, you would know that this isn't my thing. And the reason is because I'm not a big fan of this like uppity yacht rocky emo stuff. That like that power punky. Like I don't. It's not. I've never really liked that stuff.
You want it to have a little more stink on it.
Yeah, well, no, it's not necessarily that. It doesn't.
I mean, so like a Day to Remember, you're like, nope.
Yeah, no, not really. Yeah, it feels childish to me. It doesn't have any of the like polished edges. And the thing about it is, it's going to sound weird because I can think of bands that I really like that are on the periphery of this sort of thing, like Sugar Cult. And you listen to Sugar Cult, you listen to this, you're like, wow, that's kind of the same thing. Like, you're really like picking at minute stuff here, but it's really the minute stuff that kind of separates a lot of emo because it's a very homogenous genre. And it feels, I can feel like this is pulling from like some ska places and some like Less Than Jake. There's another band that I absolutely hate is Less Than Jake.
Which Tyler loves.
Right, which Tyler loves. And I know that. Like, we're still friends. I don't judge him because he likes it's just not my thing.
I know.
This, like, happy punk, go play with your dog in the sun emo music. It's just not my thing.
Newfound Glory, get rid of them. Bayside, get rid of them.
Right. But
say anything, forget it. Don't talk to me about...
Yeah, it's a little bit, it seems a little bit like it's the hyper pop of emo music.
Like, what do you got to be so happy about? Huh?
It's like for people that are like, oh yeah, I love what's on the radio, and this got on there, and they're like, I love emo now, and okay, like I shop at Hot Topic, like, oh cool, nice. I do like what you said though about it meets a challenge for me. I do like what you said about the vocals being a texture. That's really nice because I feel like a lot of other emo, the lyrics kind of stand alone. They're purposely high up in the mix because it's a very lyrical genre, very frontman focused. That's why Dream Theater would make a terrible pop punk band. For those who are familiar with Dream Theater, check out their hit. What is it? I'm Just Naked Running in the Street. It's
Change
a
Seasons.
classic pop punk ode.
Very simple, back to basics, that band.
Right, exactly. That's how you could describe Dream Theater in general. A back to the basics, 4 on the floor rock band with basically no musical knowledge. They make the Chats look like Mozart. We'll just put it like that.
That's right.
So, yeah. Good song. Not my cup of tea, but we'll get to mine because I'm sure everybody has a lot of like really hard criticism to put on.
If you weren't horny before, you will be now.
Right, now that I said I hated both of your songs right out of the gate. So this week I chose Poster Child, the new song by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Et tu, Sean. Et tu. I plugged this song in B-Sides last week. We talked about it so long that I literally included a snippet of it, and then you said, you know what? I'm going to take it from him.
Sniped it.
I'm putting this one in. No, it's because I want to put new songs in our stuff. But I wanted to also point out that I want to illustrate the challenge here. There could probably be there's probably every other song you can pick it here. But I just want to point something out for lyrics here and how you can get them wrong, particularly with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anthony Kiedis has fantastic singing diction for somebody who is from Southern California and really owns that Southern California, everything about it. And because when I think about Southern California, I think of like vocal fry, lots of like. There's this valley speak and surfer talk, right? When you hear, I always have to remember that Anthony Kiedis originally wanted to be a hip hop artist, and he was like brought in because he fit the band really well of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and when they originally started, and when I hear him sing very clearly, and you still can't understand it because his voice operates as a secondary drum set in so many occasions. It's difficult for me to transcribe in my mind without having some sort of artificial intelligence lyric generator, like captioning system, what's happening. That's why I thought it fit here, because he kind of is the culmination for me of, you should be able to understand this, but you're always confused at it because he's just good at his art. He's really figured out this is his style. And he doesn't really have to change it up. Like, he's able to kind of use it with the band to reinvent themselves for basically going on, 4 decades now? Like, can you believe that he's been able to do this stuff? So I just thought it fit really well. I know you put a clip in it in the last episode, but also I'm excited for this album. I'll own that I like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm gonna get out the burn cream. I'll just open up the floor now.
Nah, man. I'm not going to burn the song. I'm just going to burn you for stealing it from me. I raved about it last week. This track rocks. It's super funky. It's got that classic Chili's feel, but updated a little bit in terms of production style and approach. And I think, to your point, for all of Kiedis' clear diction and pronunciation, he's so quick.
Yeah.
And even if you can understand what the words are, you don't understand what they mean.
Right.
Most of the time, because he usually does kind of like a weird surrealist approach to lyric writing. On this one, it's all references to pop culture items of the Gen X period. Movies, music, clubs, record labels. It's kind of like a like a nostalgia takedown track of a sort.
Yeah.
Which I think is an interesting play from Red Hot Chili Peppers, a band that's been around for 40 years and is kind of considered a quintessential Gen X act now. You know, throwing in random references to the Karate Kid and the KGB and Melly Mel and things like I think a lot of people, if they didn't have the internet in front of them and listen to this track, they might catch a couple of names they know and they're like, what? Huh? Like, what's going on? Why is he singing about Karate Kid? And children, that's what it was like listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers for years. The thing was, you couldn't just go look up why the heck he was talking about Karate Kid. You just had to assume that Anthony was on some kind of spirit journey and you had not ascended to his plane. You know, you don't know, is Danny California a girl? Is she a place? Is she a car? You just don't know.
Is she a concept?
Right.
What did she do in Mississippi?
Yeah. You would not have known. And I think that's what makes this song perfect for the challenge. Like, it's so inscrutable that even if you knew all the words, you wouldn't know what the heck it's about.
Yeah, I feel like I already said this on the previous episode when we talked about the song, but I love that just right off the bat that Flea is a little more, I feel like, under control with this bass. You know, he's not slapping it. You know, like, and like, listen, like, I like a bass. I like a slap at the bass, you know, like, I don't hate it, but, you know, I feel like sometimes it's a little too much, because I feel like if there's ever a band that, like, embodies the, like Gonzo as an entity, it's Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just, like, extreme, extravagant, like, a little, like, wild in a way that's a little weird, you know, like, you know, I feel like that's the Chili Peppers. I feel like this song is like a little more under control, but, you know, in my old age, I'm kind of like, you know, somehow they're the only ones that have really done it and gotten away with it and just continue to do it, and you have to at least give them credit for that. Because, like, if you, like, try to, like, look up, like, an assorted, like, playlist, like, other artists, like, kind of, like, in the genre, like, there's, like, some people doing it, but it's, like, it's nothing. It's, like, the same thing you try to make a playlist out of Daft Punk. There's nothing. There's nobody else that's really doing the thing in the exact same way. So you have to give them credit. I agree that this song is a little more under control. It does feel like almost like a branded, like a commercial almost, and like how much like pronouns are in there. You're like, yes, I would love to have a Coca-Cola in my Subaru. But aside from that, you know, I think the song's sexy. I think it's sick, and you know, like, kind of, we've already said, you know, Anthony Kiedis is definitely, like, he has a swagger and he has a style, and it's like, it's a little inaudible, but I mean, I like, you could put those words down on the page, and I probably could not rap them back to you. I couldn't even, not in the same cadence, not in the same way. I'd have to practice. And that, I feel like, makes it a perfect song for driving in the car. You're like, I'm just going to keep listening to this song over and over again. I'm getting really good at it.
All right. Well, now it's time for listener submissions. Love this part. And I'm, like, reading them right now, and I'm trying not to laugh because they're so funny. And it's just like, this is the greatest hits of songs. That's hopefully your B-sides aren't totally annihilated by me reading these, but first one is from Hannah. Hi, Hannah. I believe in a thing called love by the darkness. Can you listen to the glisten of my heart? Is actually the lyric.
Oh,
I thought it was the rhythm of my heart.
Oh, I thought it was glisten.
Let's
See, there you
find
go.
out.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Oh, it is rhythm. Can you listen to the rhythm of my heart? There's a chance we can make it now. What is it? What's the lyric before the sun goes down?
Keep going, we can work it out.
Oh, keep going, we can work it out.
It's a great one. It's an all-time classic.
See, that one just had to. It's gonna haunt me.
That's all you got. Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Yeah,
That's what I would do.
figured it out. Amber McDonald submitted "Blinded by the Light" by Medford Man. I still have no idea what the hell the chorus of this song actually is.
Revved up like a deuce. like a deuce coupe.
Revved up like a deuce. Oh, okay.
No, yeah,
I swear I've looked it up on the internet and it has said exactly what everybody is thinking right now.
yeah. No, it's not that.
Revved up like a deuce.
Do you know that Bruce Springsteen originally wrote that song?
Really?
Yeah. It was just like
Absolutely
first
wild.
album. Like it's just like it's like at the bottom. It's like a deep cut off like his first album. I think the Manfred Mann version's better, but we don't got to talk about it.
All right. So, oh my God, is it at
Kaylee Turvo.
Turbo?
Kaylee Turvo.
Kaylee Turbo? I cannot read.
It's okay.
First Love / Late Spring by Mitski, and I'm going to try and say the Japanese here, so please forgive me. This every week this has turned into a joke on me, and I appreciate that, but also I'm like a little bit pissed. So I'm going to read, there's a comment here, and the comment is, the Japanese lyrics! And then in brackets, Muno ga, can you say this, Tyler? You seem like you can't even, okay. So, Muni ga Hachikari Sadu is, I totally butchered that, so I'm really sorry. But in Japanese, it's a Japanese phrase that means something akin to, my heart seems like it's going to burst. That's really cool. I've not heard of this song.
Mitski would do that. That's all I'm going to say. That's I feel like that's one of those things that's like, that's a good reason to have a different language in there. Because I feel like that's something you can't necessarily communicate as elegantly.
Right.
It's a perfect, good choice.
Just ask Deftones. They wrote a whole album just like that. Okay. Jack, welcome back. He chose the song "Oh Paul" by Freddie Dredd. I've never heard of that song.
Me neither.
Anybody familiar with
Sure,
that?
it's great though.
Okay. At Angry Tetris, this is a hilarious comment, and I was reading it before this, and I'm glad I had to do it because I was going to crack up laughing. And so I'm going to read it verbatim for what it says here. Hey, macaroni, which then says, hey, and then in parentheses it says, I did not realize that autocorrect Macarena until you just liked the tweet, laugh my ass off, which is funny.
iPhone knows.
Yeah, John just posted that, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna snipe this man in 4K. We got him. He's like, but I feel like everyone knows about Macarena. I feel like specifically that's the part people know that is literally the words Macarena. But otherwise,
other than that, it's total. I have no idea what the rest of it means. At Benji Swagner has song "Only Wanna Be With You" by Hootie and the Blowfish. Comment here. Also, half of the things that have ever come from out of Jack Black's mouth, especially that riggedy is one of the best parts of Wonder Boy. I feel like I've seen that movie a long time ago, one time. Spoiler alert, I don't like Jack Black that much, except in School of Rock.
it's fine.
And that's fine.
Ain't nobody getting upset with you about that.
We have an episode where we talk specifically about doing bad impressions of Hootie and the Blowfish. I will link that in the chat or in the show notes for Benji. It's our songs that are fun to sing in bad accents episode.
I was trying to remember what that one was because that's what we did. We did right off the cuff. We're like, all right, I think I picked Creed for that one. Yeah,
You did,
Yeah.
and Sean picked Metallica.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we didn't pick what Ivan picked, and even though I probably did an impression of it, because one of my favorite things to do is Eddie Vedder impressions, but Ivan chose probably one of the crown jewels of songs that you can't understand, "Even Flow" by Pearl Jam, and he says Pearl Jam are experts at making songs that drive me to sing regardless of my lack of understanding.
Which is so true.
So probably just open up 10, and most of the songs on there, you probably will have no idea what the hell.
But you could sort of flow through it. You could get your way there. You could get your way through that Pearl Jam album if you wanted to.
So I mean, I think about that, like the last album of Pearl Jam that I really connected with was The Fixer, and I still. Like, I've read the lyrics and I know them now, so I can sing the song pretty well, but I could never do it. So with that, oh my god, I can't believe that what next episode is. That's going to be exciting. At least I'll know who the artist is. That would be nice. It'll be easier to read it off. So without that, spoiler alert. B-sides, you got them for this episode. We want to hear them. Please elaborate.
Okay, so I have a lot. So bear with me. Loose Lips, or basically anything else by Kimya Dawson, made famous from the Juno soundtrack. Sweet Disposition by The Temper Trap. Tiny Dancer by Elton John. A lot of people don't know the words to that song, and they think they do, and then they don't. Similarly, Changes by David Bowie. If you put that on in a bar, everyone in the room will sing the changes part and then not get any of the words in between.
Turn me into changes.
Danny Nedelko by Idols, which is very hard to keep up with.
I'm pretty sure you could do half of the Idols discography and like, what is he saying?
A personal favorite of mine, Shiza by Lady Gaga, where she basically made a song of nonsense that sounds vaguely like German but isn't German. And she opens it by saying, I don't speak German, but I can if you like. In this like very campy accent, and it's super dumb.
Tyler's a little turned on. You can tell. He's got his little...
Glad it was on Chromatica is all I'm going to say.
And then last but certainly not least, an all-time classic, Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger. I want anybody to tell me they can sing all the words to the verses of that song.
Me.
Yep, and that's what everybody does.
Let's see. I have Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Nobody has any ideas what the chorus to or what the bridge is to that song. You said 500 Miles. Oh, crap, what's the band that does that? Nobody has any idea.
The Pretenders. Or no.
Right.
The Proclaimers. The
Proclaimers, right. Nobody has any idea about that song, even though it's not even that complicated. Oh, man, there was another one that you said that it made me think of another one that was classic.
I feel like a Piano Man's like another one where it's like people know most of it, but that's not like inaudible lyrics. I didn't really have any B-sides for this one. I feel like I was like, Pearl Jam probably is going to be good.
Pearl Jam's going to be good.
He shot right from the hip.
Yeah, it was. I feel like the last couple episodes I've gone way too deep, and I was like, you know what, this one I'm gonna do research light.
Well, Tyler, if people want to dive in with you, where can they do it?
Hey everybody, you can find my design illustration work at rudepets.club, and as always, you can find me on the socials as Rude Pets Club on Instagram and Twitter. Is my outro an example of things that people can't understand, but they say along to anyway? I say it in a weird way.
Sean, if people want to mumble inaudibly to you, where can they do that?
You give me the worst outros ever, like the creepiest stuff.
You're welcome.
Thanks. You can find me on Instagram at TellySean.
And if you want to bargle Noddle Zouse with me, you can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead.
I remember what it is. It was because you said the German one. It was Du Hast by
Rammstein.
By Rammstein. Yeah, everybody is like knows that, but they never know anything else about German, so it just sounds like a bunch of gargly gook.
Yeah. You can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead. You can find all of these songs on the official No Repeat podcast playlist. If you want to support the show, we have a Patreon. You get a bonus episode every month. And this month's bonus episode comes out next week, so you may want to sign up now. We also have merch. The link is in the show notes, norepeat.threadless.com. We got shirts and masks and stickers and all kinds of fun stuff. And we'll be back next week with another episode of No Repeat.